today's video, I'm going to do a brief walk around of the 71 C10 that I've been building. Stay tuned. Some of you have been asking about this 71 C10. It's been in a few of my videos in the background and stuff. Been working on this one for probably, I don't know, probably 9 or 10 months. But 71 C10, customer, he bought it at an auction, and it was your just your typical C10. It had a CPP, 3/4 drop, steel trailing arms in the back, springs and spindles in the front. Older gentleman had restored it, still had the original 307. They had put a little small camshaft in it, fuel injection, took the 3 on the tree, put it in the floor, so it was 3-speed still. Still had a stock rear end under it. Had just a decent looking set of 20s on it. They done the gray bumpers, the gray insert under the hood, but a couple of custom touches of stuff we really didn't care for. But it was just your typical restored C10. I mean, it kind of looked like the rest of them. But this customer, he had ordered a LS3 connecting cruise with a 6L80 from GM Performance Parts, and pretty much he met me, and that's when it kind of snowballed. As soon as he met me and him got talking, we were going to do some suspension stuff and do the swap. Well, the motor came in and it was actually damaged. They had stuck a forklift fork through the crate, busted the intake. So the customer, he sent the engine back, kept the transmission, and pretty much gave me free reign on what to order as long as it was kind of in the same budget. So we ended up going with a Mast Motorsports LS7. So it's 427. This one is a basically aluminum 5.3 base deal, so it's a re-sleeved aluminum 5.3 block, make it 427. We've got the Mast Motorsports big heads, intake. So this one, it made, when they engine dynoed it, made 639, I believe. We hadn't had it on a chassis dyno, we just street tuned it, but killer little truck though. Big aluminum radiator, 2 spall fans, they're kind of hard to see. Big 4-inch aluminum intake that I made. It's got Corvette style accessories on the front. Got a Corvette alternator and power steering pump set up. But I did do ICT billet brackets on both sides. That way I could run this style sand in a little small compressor, because I knew I wanted to do the little waterfall with the 2 fittings pointing down. You see, it's just clean little swap. They had already done the gray panel up under the hood, done the gray inner fenders and the gray core support and stuff, so it all kind of flowed together and tied good. But we did vintage heat and air kit, so you see all the AC hoses coming through. I would have liked to have smoothed the firewall and done a bulkhead, and that was actually what I had purchased, a nice billet bulkhead for this setup, but I'll get to why I couldn't do that here in a minute. We just did a black Willwood mesh cylinder, black booster. Still got a couple holes in the firewall and stuff that's plugged, and that's kind of what I tell people is the hardest thing about stuff like this, is you take a fully restored truck, and to do a swap and do some of the stuff that we do is kind of hard to do it once the truck's already finished, because like all these little holes and stuff that I need to stop up now, I can't go back and weld those up unless we would have repainted the whole firewall. So it kind of makes it difficult. So doing a bulkhead over here, I could have done it in that plate and welded some holes up in it, but because of some stuff that they done on the interior, I wasn't able to do that, so I had to run the vintage air through the holes in the plate that they supplied, which it works. I mean, it's not my favorite, but it does work. You see a condenser, transmission cooler out front. We got one of the very first Hooker Blackheart setups, so it's Hooker Blackheart headers, the Hooker motor mounts and transmission crossmember, they all fit really great. I love how kind of low and set back the motor is. Still has room to do my fuel pressure regulator on the firewall. It's deadhead up here for like this style fuel rail, so it's got a return going all the way to the back. But that's pretty much it under the hood. I said it's just kind of simple and clean, nothing super crazy. So this is why that I couldn't really do the smooth firewall like I wanted to. This C10 has a 55, 56 Chevrolet dash in it. So not necessarily our speed, but of course it's already done. It's kind of one of those custom touches. Either you really love it or you don't. We decided to keep it. We were going to cut it all back out, but they had done such a, they honestly done a really good job on it. The way they had to do this was not necessarily my favorite, but they made this nice top piece for the door. So, when the door is shut, it all flows and, works real nice. But we decided to keep that. But what we ended up doing, Johnny over at JP's, he ordered all our vintage air stuff for us, and we ended up keeping a C10 evaporator box. We did the C10 condenser kit and C10 line kit, but you can see we did the 55 underdash vents, the corner vents that are 455 from vintage air, and we also kept a 55/6 heater control panel, and they tied it in and made it work with the C10 box. Hindsight, I would have probably went with a universal evaporator, something that was a little bit smaller. That one is firewall to dash jammed in there, and it is, I hope I never have to pull it back out because it's that tight. But it's all in there, works great. Air blows super cold. I mean, it's just your typical vintage air setups. I mean, I have nothing bad to say about them. Obviously the interior is not 100% finished. We've probably got about 100 miles on it since we finished it now, and since we've tuned it and got new carpet and stuff in it. But we're gonna have the seats kind of redone, probably hopefully reshape, get the headrest off of them, get rid of this funky material that the old timer done. But basically redo the door panels, redo the seats, and then it had a huge center console that went from the back wall all the way to the dash before. So we're gonna have a shorter little console made for it. And you see we've got our window switches already wired in, so they'll go in the console. And then being we done the 6L80, we did the low car 6L80 shifter, and then I made a resistor harness, so it does have tap shift just like a late model Corvette Camaro deal. So it goes back to drive, and then you pull back one more time into manual mode or whatever, and then pop the shifter, it goes to the right, and it's just got 2 micro switches, and that way you can toggle between upshift, downshift. But it's got an IDIT column, just your standard comfort grip steering wheel. It's got a custom auto sound radio, a little small amp under the seat, 2 6x9s in the back wall. You see it's got just some VHX decoded digitals. Sorry for the glare. And then of course running the OBD 2-port way over here. Did a BIM module for the Dakotas, that way everything's pulling straight from the ECU. And this one I did a E38 computer. We actually had some issues with that. It wasn't nothing that we done or that the customer done, but just some oddball stuff. The ECU that we had, and then the TCM that was in this transmission, they didn't have matching operating systems. And Eric Evans over at Queen City Speed, he comes in, tunes a lot of my stuff for me, and he helped me diagnose that deal. And we sent ECU and the TCM, sent them to Spear Tech, got them reflashed so that the operating systems matched, got it back in so Eric could finish tuning it for us, and all that's pretty much went great. We actually went around the block in it a few more times last week trying to get the converter lockup squared away. We had it kind of locking up a little bit too late for us, but you can see I did Level 7 Motorsports. They'd make this nice, you can't really see it, but it's a nice little plate set up. It bolts your Corvette drive-by-wire pedal to a stock C10 firewall, and then some people have to really work for that, but that's like a C5, C6 brake pedal that I made work. And of course that really would not work the best in a normal C10, but with this 55 dash setup, it works great. You can see the hodgepodge deal for the steering column that whoever done the dash done, but like I said, they did a really good job, made everything fit good. All in all, this really came together. Some of the little custom touches I talked about. You can see the shaved drip rails, something that we probably really wouldn't have done. The one-piece door glasses, I don't really care nothing about. I'm still kind of old school. I like the vent glasses, and I really don't care for the little tiny mirrors or the little funky door handles, which these door handles, they did a really good job, and they actually work really well. Still, I guess, uses stock latches and stuff, but you know, that's the hard stuff that you just, once the truck's restored, I mean, unless you're going to strip it back down and repaint it, it's kind of hard to go back and change some of that. So we just kind of rolled with it and kept the outside the way he bought it. It already had the side exit exhaust, but I went back and just done a nice 304 stainless 3-inch steel, big course of mufflers, V-banded everything so it all breaks apart, and it just comes top of the frame between the bed, comes out the side. And it's just, with this Mast Motorsports motor, I mean, it's just super loud, and it sounds like a super late model dirt car or something. But this one had a wood bed floor, so we went back and done the AMD deep tubs. I cut the wood out, and you see it's already had a rear mount tank in it, and so was gonna go with like a Boyd welding tank, but since they already had the hole cut and I really didn't want to pull all the wood out, we ended up reusing this tank that was already in it, and I did a nice Aeromotive Phantom drop-in setup, so that worked out really good. Of course, we use a lot of Aeromotive stuff, so it's Aeromotive pump, Aeromotive filter, regulator, pretty much vibrant hose and vibrant fittings the whole way. Suspension wise though, this one is full Ride Tech, so it's got the all the Ride Tech front suspension, rear suspension, Ride Tech coilovers. Still got CPP drop spindles. Pretty much the biggest wheel wood you can do. I guess that's 14-inch rotors all the way around, or 14s, 13s in the rear. I can't remember, but it's got a Quick Performance 9-inch. I run a lot of their rear ends. This one I custom spec. It's got a back brace, jack plate. It's got the thicker wall axle tubes. Eaton True Track. I think we did like a 370 gear. It's got all the little gussets and stuff that they do, but super, super nice piece there. And you can see we did the Billet Specialties wheels. I believe these were called Hydros. I bought a nice, wheel measuring tool for this setup. We went ahead and ordered these tires. They're Michelin Pilots. I'm real picky on sidewall heights and stuff, so this one, I ended up doing a 19 in the front, so it's a 19 by 10. Rear's a 20 by 12. All that worked out really good. I think my biggest complaint, Billet Specialties was really easy to deal with, and the customer actually ordered the wheels off the specs I gave him. The wheels came in wrong. They make these wheels in a concave and convex, and we wanted the concave, which basically the spokes just kind of dip in, and they messed up and sent us the wrong ones. We had the option to send them back, and they were real cool about it, but it was one of those deals like, after we waited so many weeks to get them, we sat them on the truck, and it was just like, oh well, because they looked killer on the truck. So we ended up running them, been real happy with them. Probably my only other complaint, for other people, when you're running, drop spindles and coilovers and all this other stuff, this 19 by 10 in the front, we were still fighting some scrubbing issues with the wheels and the control arms. I've got it pretty much sorted away. I had to make some different wheel stops and stuff and use a little bit of a spacer, but that's just been a little bit of aggravation we've been dealing with. And been dealing with this junky power steering hose. I'd ordered a ICT Billet power steering hose kit, and that was, I was already ordering some stuff from them, and I just went ahead and done it. Well, needless to say, that is no longer on their website, and for good reason. That deal's blew out with me twice, and I should have, after the first one, I shouldn't have kept fooling with it. I should have just went to something else, but yeah, I don't think you can see it, but I just did a nice kind of standard steel braided deal for the power steering and got that sorted out. But really the only other issue I've had was this 6L80. You see that was a Durrell, or Durrelli, however you want to say it, fan setup on a transmission cooler. I've done the transmission cooler up under the cab like I've done several different times before. And of course, the fan's on a temperature switch, but the transmission temperatures, they kept wanting to get up on it. So kept fighting that. So I finally just took the fan off and moved it out front of the core support so it's getting fresh air. I'm just assuming with this one, the 6L80 builds a little more heat than some of your 4L60s and 80s does. So, and then being right there under the cab and the way I'd done the exhaust kind of right there on the opposite side, I think it was just kind of getting heat soaked. So that cured that. But all in all, like I said, we're super happy with everything. Truck's just really stupid fast, and really ready to get some more miles on it, get the interior finished up, and let the customer enjoy it. That's the main thing. So hopefully here in just a little bit, I'm gonna go around the block one more time, clean it up a little bit, and he's gonna come get it and start putting some more miles on it before we make an appointment at the interior shop. And really, that's about it. I'll probably post some videos and stuff of it so you can hear what it sounds like, maybe some pictures up underneath of it. And like I said, if you got any questions on the thing or see anything you want to know any information about it or whatever, just give me a shout, leave some comments. And like I said, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the video, and stay tuned for a little more content. Thanks.